Could you record the class?
Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
No, thank you, because I just remembered after the comment about the sharing or not sharing, to be or not to be. So yeah, so this is a class 4 PIN428 on October the 6th. We're reviewing Shakespearean sonnets, and the definition of a sonnet is a poem which has 14 lines and is written in an iambic pentameter. This refers to rhythm, right? And syllables. So let's take a look at this orange cloud. Meter in poetry is a rhythm of accented and unaccented syllables arranged into feet. Okay, so a foot is a combination. A foot is one syllable, right? And then a combination of syllables is a feet. Now, these feet may have stressed syllables or unstressed syllables, or accented or accented syllables. Unaccented and accented, as you can read here in this section of the slide. In this example from Sonnet 18, this example at the bottom is taken from Sonnet 18, right? You can read it like this. Shall I compare the Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? So those are the accented syllables. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Okay, and therefore the other syllable is going to be the unstressed or unaccented one. So shall is going to be unaccented, come, the, and mares. That's going to be the unaccented syllable. Okay, so this was sort of the convention at this time in which sonnets, this type of poems, were written following a specific structure. Okay, and it's called iambic pentameter because it has 5 iambs. 5 iambs. And an iamb is basically a combination of an unaccented syllable followed by an accented one, like shall I, didum, didum. So if you get 5 didums, you get an iambic pentameter. Didum, 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 didum. Shall I compare the to a summer's day? Okay, so all of the lines should follow this specific convention about sonnets. Okay, that's the idea with this sonnet, which is written in this specific rhythmic pattern. This is a definition for a syllable you should be already familiar with, but let's take a look. Fernanda, do you have a working microphone? Do you mind reading this slide, please, for us?
Yes, no problem.
Thank you so much.
Syllables. What is a syllable? A syllable is the unit of sound. It is either stressed or unstressed. But soft what light through yonder window breaks. How many syllables are there in that quotation?
Yes. Perfectly read, by the way. By soft what light through yonder window breaks. Now, how many syllables do you think there are here? Let me give you a clue. A syllable has as a nucleus or peak a vowel sound. So if you have a vowel sound, then you have a syllable.
I think there are 10.
All right.
Me
10.
too. 10.
You too? 10. All right. But soft, we have 2. What? Light, we have 3 and 4. Through, yon, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Perfect. So we have 10 syllables. And do we have this succession of unaccented and accented syllables? Like, but soft. What do you think?
Light.
Uh-huh. And then through?
Jump. Through jumper. I don't know.
Yonder. Mm-hmm. What about windows?
Window.
Okay. Win. Let me get rid of the can you get rid of this? Win, and then breaks, right? So, but soft with light through yon, the windows breaks. Okay, all right. Let's see. So that's one IM. That's another one. That's another one. That is another one. And here's the last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we have 5 iambs. So this would be an iambic pentameter. Pentameter, right? Because 5 feet. 5 feet. This is 1 feet. That's another one. That's another one. This is another one, and that is the last one, right? So it has 5 feet. So as it has 5 feet, this line, it's a pentameter, and because it can, each one is composed by an unaccented and an accented syllable. We called it iamb, right? If we have a different type of accentuation in this syllable, the name would not be iamb or iambic. It would be different. All right. Ask for some collaboration here. Consuelo, do you mind reading this slide, please, aloud?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Meter in poetry is a rhythm of accented and unaccented syllables arranged into feet. Meter, I don't know if it's meter or meter. Meter in poetry is what brings the poem to life and is the internal beat or rhythm with which it is read. Manometer, 1 foot, diameter, 2 feet, trimeter, 3 feet, tetrameter, 4 feet, pentameter, 5 feet, hexameter, 6 feet, heptameter, 7 feet, and octameter, 8 feet.
Excellent. Congrats. I wouldn't have been able to read even though they are we should be familiar with this, right? Mono, D, tri, tetra, penta, hexa, hepta, and octa. Okay, excellent. So manometer one foot, diameter 2 feet. So the poem, the thing is that a poet has these conventions, right? And the conventions that are used by poets to organize the ideas according to some specific conventions that rule over a specific period of time. This time it was the iambic pentameter for sonnets. In other moments in history or in terms of literary evolution, there are other conventions or even no conventions that are followed by artists, right? So as I mentioned before, think about didum whenever you think about an iamb. and it's just like a beat, right? Like the heartbeat, dum, 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 dum. So I guess that's why it has been quite used because of the connotation of a heartbeat, right? And it's a pattern that it's used in this type of poems that we're going to review in the next slides, right? Let me pentameter 10 syllables with 5 unstressed and 5 stressed syllables. Okay. This is the example that was read here, right? The soft with light through yonder window breaks, right? From Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. Let's take a look at an example here. I think we already covered this. Just a visual image for you to have it a little bit clearer. So this is an iamb, this is an iamb, composed by, this one is an unaccented and this is accented. And the two of them make a foot. And a pentameter is composed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 feet. Now, going beyond the lines, right? Remember that Shakespearean sonnets has 14 lines, 14 of them, okay? And most of them also have a specific structure. 3 quatrains followed by a couplet, okay? A quatrain, if you pay attention to the name, quatrain has to do with 4, or Spanish cuatro, quatrain, right? So a quatrain has 4 lines. So if you get 4 lines and then 4 and then 4, right, you get 12. And the final couplet is, you know, a pair of sentences, two sentences, 2 lines. Sorry, I think I pressed the wrong button. Okay, right here. And that's and they follow a specific rhyme scheme, or a rhyming pattern. That is, the first line ends with a sound that rhymes with the word in the third line. And the second line ends with a word that rhymes with the word in the fourth line. So we have A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, and G, G means that the last 2 lines, the couplet, both last words rhyme. Let's try to see this example or this rhyme scheme in an example. This is the sonnet 116. And let's pay attention first to the composition of this sonnet. Quatrains, we have 1, 2, and 3. 3 quatrains. You see this sort of paragraphs, but in when we refer to poems, we call them stanzas. A stanza is what a paragraph is to prose, right? To a story, to a tale. In poems or in poetry, you arrange your thoughts into stanzas, okay? So the first stanza is a quatrain because it has 4 lines. The same thing with the next stanza, also a quatrain, and the third one, also a quatrain, okay? And the last 2 lines are called a couplet. That's basically the name, technical name, to refer to a stanza made up of 2 lines. Okay, so quatrains 1, 2, 3, and finally a couplet. That's the composition of a sonnet in general. In terms of the rhyme scheme, the rhyme scheme or the rhyming pattern, right? You can call it with either. We see that the first quatrain, the first stanza, has an ABAB rhyme scheme. ABAB, meaning that the first word, mine, rhymes with finds, and love in the second line rhymes with love, remove. We have to pay attention to the different pronunciation, right, in those days, all right? Because sometimes these are slightly changed. C and C, mark and bark. D and D, shaken and taken. In the next stanza, cheeks and weeks, E and E. Come and doom, then cum and doom. Again, pronunciation varies, right? Same as proved and loved, okay? Probably proved and loved, okay? But the thing is that in general, the rhyme scheme follows this A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, and G, G. That's what a sonnet is expected to behave, or what it expected to look like, okay? We can test this. Let me send you a link. Okay, I'm going to send you a link right now to the chat box. Let me know if you got it. It's Shakespeare's-sonnets.com.
Yes.
Yes? Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to go and find the sonnet 18th. 18th, 1-8. You should be on this website. So you go to sonnets, right? You go to this section 1-50, right? And then you find the 18th. Okay. So you have day and May, A, right? A and A. Temperate and date, B and B. Shines and declines, C, right? Dimmed and untrimmed, right? D. A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D. Fade, rhyming with shade, and oast and grossed. And finally, the last couplet, C and the. Okay, so that's the structure that in general you would expect from a sonnet. All right, that's the way that a sonnet is supposed to behave. Alrighty. Now, in terms of the argument that the sonnet is proposing, right? We have also that that each one of the quatrain or each one of the elements here proposes a specific topic and develops the argument in a specific way. So I'm going to ask someone's help with this slide, maybe Mariana Jaque. Mariana, do you mind reading this slide, please, aloud?
Yes.
Thank you.
Should I should I read the entire slide? Yeah. Okay. The sonnet's argument. A sonnet is also an argument. It builds up a certain way, and how it builds up is related to its metaphors and how it moves from one metaphor to the next. In a Shakespearean sonnet, the argument builds up like this. First quatrain, an exposition of the main theme and main metaphor. Second quatrain, theme and metaphor extended or complicated. Often some imaginative example is given. Third quatrain, peripetia, a twist or conflict, often introduced by a but, very often leading off the ninth line. Couplet summarizes and leaves the reader with a new concluding image.
Thank you so much, Mariana. So as we can see, just like a story, a poem has an argument proposed by the poet, right? Most of the times, the poet is going to be appreciating the lover's beauty, is which are the metaphors that the poet is using to propose in a very original and not old-fashioned way this appreciation for the lover. So in the first one, we have a presentation of the main thing, what the poem is going to be about, what the sonnet is going to be about, an elaboration, right, or an addition of other elements that somehow extend the meaning of the metaphors, right, that were used in the first quatrain. And in the third quatrain, peripetia, very strange word, or a twisted conflict, but it's sort of giving us a twist, so to finally understand what the main focus of the poem is. Maybe we were pushed towards one direction, and then this third quatrain give us a twist and force us to look at the matter from a different perspective. And finally, in the last two lines, right, the poet has this sort of closure, right, sort of a conclusion of the sonnet. Therefore, we might be convinced or not about the argument that the poet is proposing. Okay, so that's in general how a sonnet looks like. This is in general the structure of a poem, right? In general, what are the components of a sonnet, right? And also, we need to understand that there is a specific rhyming pattern or rhyme scheme, and that within the lines you have smaller components that are called iambs, and that each line also follows a specific pattern in terms of unaccented and accented beats. Okay. For this activity, we have the sonnet 18, right? This sonnet is a very famous one. I'm going to copy and paste a website for you to watch someone reading the poem. It's very easy. You go to YouTube and you type the name of the sonnet. You can type sonnet 18, right? Or the first line. Shall I compare thee to a psalmist's day? My suggestion is type sonnet 18, and you've got plenty of different actors, even singers, who might be reading the poem for you. I mean, I could show you, but I don't trust my internet connection. So it would be a painful experience if you watch the poem from this. Let me see if I can share it, and you let me know if you can listen to the poem. If not, you can read, listen, and watch it on your own. All right? Here we go.
Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Oh, thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair sometime declines, by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee.
So how was the experience? Were you able to, watch it without any interruption?
Yes, I could.
Alrighty.
I couldn't listen to the first part of the video.
You couldn't listen to the first part. Okay. That's too bad. Let's see if I can fix this. Okay. All right. Let's see if I can fix this.
Place in these sonnets. I want to read Advising a Beautiful. These poems of advice modulate into a
Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Oh, thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date.
All right, let's take a look at this first quatrain and what it's proposing, right? So, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? No, thou art more lovely and more temperate. So this is a metaphor comparing the lover to a summer's day with all the positive associations that you might think of, right? Summer's day is warm, you feel very excited about being outside. Imagine yourselves being confined to your houses, and then you can go and enjoy a summer's day, a warm day, let's say in the countryside or on the beach, okay? But no, you're more lovely and you're more temperate. Well, you're warmer and lovelier than a summer's day. Then in the next line, same quatrain, rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's leaves hath all too short a date. So summer is going to end at some point, right? And sometimes the winds shake the buds, this little thing that grow in the trees in spring. So eventually, that's not a good comparison, because eventually the warm and hot days are going to end, but not you, right? Then we have another quatrain here. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines. So why is it not a good idea to compare you to a summer's day, which is a very pleasant experience for most of the people, right? sometimes the day may be too hot, right? Too hot, and also the sun fades away. Also, the sun sets, right? Just like beauty, fair from fair sometimes decline, right? Sometimes it's something that we cannot deny, and it happens. Beauty fades, right? You're not beauty for your entire life. You eventually pass away, right? So therefore, beauty is also something that um, is defeated by the as time passes by. Um, by chance, right, or by nature, by anything that happens to you, or because you grow old, right, and you stop being beautiful. And there's a twist here in the third quatrain. What's a twist, right? Your your eternal summer shall not fade. Your eternal beauty, your eternal warmth, right, shall not go away, right? And you will not lose possession of that fear. You will continue to be beautiful, right? And you will not die because death will not brag, will not say, you are in my realm. You're already dead, right? You are under my shade. Death will not have that possibility of bragging that you are dead and you're in its reign, right? Because these eternal lines will make you grow, right? And so long as men can breathe, and so long as these lines can be read by anyone, you will live, right? And they will give you life, and you will never die. So the poet is using the sonnet as an instrument to give eternal life to the lover. And he's using the power of the words and the possibility that every time someone reads this is becoming alive, right? And this is making the subject of the poem, which is the person that the author loves, to become alive again, just like the words. So it's an interesting argument, the one proposed by Shakespeare, right? The idea that words give you the power of outpass or outlive your own death and outlive the lives of your contemporaries. So other people may die, but not you, because these words are going to make you eternal. Okay, that's the power of the words that are proposed by Shakespeare, right? In terms of, so every time you read up a poem, you've got to remember that there's always a layer in which you appreciate the poem itself. You read it aloud and you try to identify its musicality. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Okay, so first time you have to read it aloud, right? To appreciate how it goes, how it feels, how it sounds like. Okay, sometimes you get repetition of sounds, and sometimes they affect the rhythm of the line, the rhythm of the stanza. And then there's a more, I would say, focused second read, right? In which you pay attention to some of the elements present there. You say, okay, this is a sonnet. The sonnet has three quatrains and a couplet. So what's proposed in the first quatrain? What's the problem? What's the sonnet about? Then what is the second quatrain contributed to my understanding or to the author's development of his or her argument? Then is there a twist presented in the third quatrain? What's the twist? What's the change? What's the second perspective that I need to gain? I mean, okay, the lover is compared to a summer's day, but then no, not a good idea. Second quatrain, because the summer can be a summer day can be too hot. It fades, beauty fades, by nature or by chance, right? And the twist is proposed in the third quatrain, right? That the lover, the person you love, will not die, right? And then the complete third is closed in the couplet, saying, "As long as man can breathe, or as I can see, this is going to live. This son is going to live, and it's going to give you life." So that's an interesting proposition that probably you can get in the second time you read, right? Then maybe the third time you can pay attention to other elements, like for example, okay, the rhyming pattern, some of the metaphors used, right? How this idea presented in the first quatrain is developed in the second quatrain, in which metaphors are connected to the idea presented in the first quatrain. Okay, so a sonnet has to be read at least, I'm proposing this, right, at least three times, right, considering that there are different layers of appreciation and then analysis. Okay, so here we have a proposition. You may agree or disagree with them, but I think it's time for us to take a short break. Do we have a 2-hour class or 1-hour class today?
2 hours.
A 2-hour class,
hours.
okay. Thank you. So I guess a 10-minute break will do. And then we're going to discuss 2 more sonnets. This time I would like to, assume a more active role, because I want you to read the sonnets and let us know your own perception, okay? Not the 18th, but I would say the 130, okay? 130, and maybe the 29, okay? The 29. But that's going to happen after the break. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're coming back, I'll see you around after the 10-minute break, okay? Stop our recording now. And